Hey everyone, welcome to Clockwork Fall, the new Diced Coffee Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition podcast. We will be playing a homebrew D&D game intended for a mature audience. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Welcome back everyone to Diced Coffee's Dungeons & Dragons podcast Clockwork Fall. And today we are going to continue the story of Eve, a young and hopeful fallen aasimar who looking to expand her knowledge on technology in the world. So, last we left off, Eve had gone on her graduation mission, in which she was to go to the town of Trustwald with two of her roommates and classmates, Martis and Etria, to figure out what's been going on in the Mithril mines, just a few hours' ride from Trustwald. Upon entering the mines and discovering various things, they have found a group of cultists worshipping the Legion, a collective of lower plane gods looking to return to the world. After some debate on what to do and how to proceed, the plan was formulated to cave in the mines, and with it, these cultists who seem to have the ability to mend or at least control stone. Upon executing the plan, not without a few injuries, the three of you, Eve, Etria, and Martis, managed to return to Trustwald with your instructor and the man who will be ranking you based on your performance in the mission, Instructor Claudius, and you have the night for yourselves on whatever you wish to do until the morning when a deliberation is to happen as to how you've performed on your mission and if you were successful in accomplishing the contract given to the Crimson Forge. So, upon returning to Trustwald and enjoying a few drinks and some food, Instructor Claudius calls it an early night. Martis and Etria go off to explore the city before taking a sleep, as they have, much like you, not left the Crimson Forge in quite some time. Do you want to do anything in Trustwald, Eve?
I would like to explore the place as well. Just walk around aimlessly.
The surrounding area that you find within Trustwald is full of marketplaces, and it's sort of like a tourist trap, or the equivalent of one. You find a variety of things around the streets, street performers, buskers, and other sorts of entertainment, ranging from musicians to street performers of varying degrees of talent. Traveling forth here, you find quite a number of things along this one street without taking any turns. The most eye-catching would be this one apothecary, which looks like it was built in a much older age. The entire structure is made of wood and straw, barely any stones or cement, unlike its surrounding structures that are made of steel and cement and stone. With everything that's on this apothecary, it just looks vastly different from everything else here. And when you look at the sign, it just reads the Black Raven Apothecary.
I suppose I would going to look at the apothecary and perhaps pay it a visit if it's still open.
It is open and does not seem to have any plans on closing despite how late it is getting. When you open the door, you hear the bell just ring, and then inside the apothecary you find, first of all, you find a few things that are common in apothecary, some healing salves, some balms, and some potions. But as you continue inside, you find things that are much odder and out of place than a usual apothecary. You find a jar of bluish liquid that seems to be glowing, nothing you've ever seen before. You find a petrified hand that's inside a beautifully carved wooden case that has a glass kind of cover to it. You find various small treasure chests the size of your hand that are placed in a very perfect order. And you find various rows and shelves of books. Normally apothecaries would carry some form of manuals or medicinal books, but these are different. They're unlabeled And looking through any one of them, they are in a strange, almost foreign language.
I'm assuming I don't recognize the language.
It's not a language you speak. It's not a language that you think anyone speaks. It's almost not a language.
Do I see where the shopkeep is?
You see where the counter is, and there's a black beaded curtain just behind where you would assume the register is.
I will try to check if I can understand any of the odd objects on the shelves, if I recognize any of them.
None of them would strike anything of familiarity to you. These are almost a collection of strange body parts, petrified organs, some bones and teeth. Nothing that really strikes you as interesting, other than the fact that they're weird, and shops don't normally carry petrified organs.
That is very true. I'm going to approach the counter and try to tap on the wood.
You tap on the wood lightly,
Good evening.
and from behind you, there's a tap on your shoulder. Good evening.
Good evening.
There is what you think is a woman under a cloak. A sort of hooked nose and a sharp pointed chin inside a very thick black cloak that hides most of her face. A bony hand with a even bonier finger that was tapping on your shoulder. The woman is hunched, but even in her hunched state, she stands a good 4 inches taller than you. Can I help you, dear?
Yes, I happen to take interest in your shop, and forgive me, but I am curious. What are those exactly? I'm gonna ask while pointing at the body parts.
Every move she makes has a bony crackling sound. When you point at the body parts, she looks at them. Petrified organs, body parts, severed limbs of various creatures, experiments and experimental fluid.
Experiments for what exactly?
Experiments for whatever you might need such parts for, dear. Some like to dabble in necromancy, for example. Others like to infuse items, and some are just superstitious. She says as she holds onto a petrified hand in a case.
You mentioned infusions. Can you tell me more about it?
Infusions here and there. Some people like to place magical charms on certain items, making them little more useful than just a mundane petrified hand.
Out of curiosity, do you happen to have an eye at your disposal?
Of course I have an eye.
May I see them?
Crow's eyes, rabbit's eyes, cat's eyes, tiefling eyes, human eyes. Oh, this one's a particularly nasty one. She's holding a pure black orb that does resemble the organ or what you imagine the inside of an eye looks like. It has the nerve ending still attached to it, but it's just black.
Who owns it?
Who owned it was a tiefling. A not so friendly one that thought they could double cross me on a deal. It cost them.
I see. These are open to be infused.
If you know what you're doing, yes. Anything can be infused if you know what you're doing. She's looking at your eye patch.
That is true. I'm going to reach out to the eye of the tiefling that she mentioned. How much is this? Out of curiosity.
I would be willing to part with this item for 50 gold pieces. Or perhaps if you can do me a quick favor.
And what favor would that be?
There is a certain little scum of the earth, hiding from me. He stole something very valuable to me, although not very valuable to anyone else. He stole from me a small silver key about an inch long. I want it back.
To take this key in exchange for an eye. If you don't mind, I am also curious about those books that you have. It is in a language that I have never seen before.
Those are an old collection. They are written in a variety of different languages. Most of them considered dead, much like the people who wrote them.
And what are they about?
History, occult practices, and some things better left undiscovered unless your curiosity is well controlled.
Do you happen to have anything about power? Raw arcana?
It's not uncommon to find raw arcana to be harvested. It's how you harvest it that matters. Raw magical energy is all around you. You need only look. But if you're looking to harvest it, I might have a book for you. Possibly. Her long bony fingers extend to one of the shelves. She picks up one old leather-bound book. The leather is barely processed. It looks like it was made in the middle of the woods without much equipment other than an actual leather worker's tools. She just hands it to you. When you open the book, it actually shifts languages from something strange to common.
What is it about?
Well, dear, the book covers a variety of topics from harvesting arcane energy to various spells that might be enhanced or improved, or to harvesting the energy through a weapon and possibly expelling it to the other side of that weapon. A number of things can be done if you have the creativity.
Fascinating. And how much would this cost?
This particular volume is very rare and old. I would have to charge you about 100 gold pieces for it.
And I am assuming the retrieval of this silver key would not be enough to pay for this, antique.
Retrieval of the key will buy you the eye. Bringing me the head of the man who stole the key, however, I may be persuaded to lower the cost significantly.
Can I do a roll to see if there's, how does law work in this land, basically? If I do abide by what she wants, would I be possibly thrown into jail if I get caught?
Intelligence?
Okay. Not bad. That's a 21.
Laws are covered by Forgemasters because you have to work within them. Around here, you are technically not yet a Forgemaster, which means collecting bounties is not yet within your allowable actions, given the tensions in the nations and within the Kovaran country itself. It might not be wise to test that. However, you can collect bounties that don't involve life or death, meaning if someone has opted to hire your services while you're here, you are allowed to help them in however way you can, within reason. Whatever mistakes you might do or whatever mess you might create will fall on your instructor. as his responsibility, because he is the guy watching over you on this graduation mission of yours.
Understood. I will look at her and just say, as much as I do want to have this book and do as you want me to do, unfortunately I don't have my license yet, but could you do me a favor and hold on to this for a moment? Maybe a few days. I'll try to acquire the gold necessary for it.
That can be arranged.
Thank you very much. My name is Eve, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And my name... well, just call me Raven.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Raven.
She extends her hand, long, almost tendril-like fingers that wrap around yours, and shakes you with the coldest grip you've ever felt.
Oh, that is cool. Thank you, and I will be back. I promise.
I know you will.
Pleasant evening.
She takes 3 steps into the shadows and just disappears. The door behind you opens as the bell rings.
I will look at the leather-bound book, give it a longing glance, hesitantly puts it back, and I will step out of the shop.
Is there anything else you'd like to do around here, or would you like to head back to your room?
I would like to head back to my room and continue with my experiment.
Alright. You head back to your room. You spend the night to tinker with your trinkets and other things until sleep comes to you. And the night turns into day. You awaken bright and early as instructed. Stand up, prepare for the day, and you head downstairs where you find Etria already eating the breakfast that comes with staying in this inn, followed by Martis, and eventually Claudius, who's having an early drink from his flask. You have a meal and Claudius sits there, looks at all of you. Well, children, I got the results of your little explosion. Folks aren't too happy about the mines being caved in. However, I made the persuasive argument that the mines are already depleted anyway, that they weren't gonna get much out of it. And they can always mine the rocks out of the way. All in all, seems like we're fine. Now, it's time for the other part of your graduation. The surprise quiz, as it were. He hands out papers, official documents to each of you with your names. While Etria's and Martis's hold their full names, yours simply says Eve. Y'all gonna be using these for a day. For this day, y'all are gonna be considered Forgemasters. So, the second half of your graduation is to find a small contract for yourselves within this city. Bear in mind, people around here don't necessarily like us. So you're gonna have to be a little more creative with how you find your clients. At the end of the day, if they're happy with your services, you get to keep whatever rewards you make. Just have the client sign off on that document there. And if they're so kind, maybe get them to write a bit of a recommendation in the back, depending on how rosy their wording is. You might get a little bonus from your graduation. He takes a swig from his flask. Now go on, get.
I am going to stab the last piece of meat in my plate and chew it and say, in theory, what if I did find a contract and it kind of involves me taking someone's head?
Well, that would depend. We're not assassins. So, murdering ain't exactly viable unless the target is already wanted. There's a bounty on his head, then it's fair game.
I'll keep that in mind, thank you.
Etria looks at her papers. Oh, good. I get to do my civic duty and help someone in need. Joy.
Well, you sound enthusiastic.
I am ecstatic.
I can see that.
As she walks away, Martis stands up, takes his last drink. Well, I bid you good luck, Eve. He offers a handshake. I better see you in the graduation ceremony.
You. Good luck.
Shakes your hand. He walks. Claude just takes a drink. Y'all get on it now. Don't get yourselves killed. Obviously you fail if you do.
Well, we don't exactly get a ribbon, for trying hard and all that jazz.
Y'all might get something good if you do really well. Your batch happens to be very light. You do really well, something just might be waiting for you.
Looking forward to it. Well, time to get started.
You leave the inn. Soon after, Claudius does leave as well as you're walking down the street, and you find him going straight for the central area of town, where the nobles and the king, or the baron of the land, lives. Where do you want to head off to?
Is there a bulletin board that posts people who who have bounties on their head?
There isn't exactly a bulletin board, but if you pay attention to the various lampposts and walls, there are posters or sketches, and there are posters and sketches of various people who are wanted. And it does mention whether they're wanted, dead or alive.
Can I passively try to keep those in mind before I head to the apothecary?
You can run through and get the names and descriptions. That's easy enough.
Okay, I'll head to the apothecary.
When you enter the apothecary, the bell rings once more. The inside seems just as dark as it was when you entered at night as it is now in day. It doesn't look like any sunlight is actually going through the window despite there being an actual window. In fact, when you look back at the window, it's still nighttime outside.
Well, that's disorienting. Miss Raven, I'm back.
Standing to your side, there's a small breath to your ear. Hello.
No. Hey, yes, I happen to be looking for a contract, and as you've mentioned, you are in need of assistance with retrieving this silver key.
Well, I'm capable of doing it myself, but I do have other things to take care of, so yes, I am looking for assistant.
Wonderful. If it's alright with you, as it is still my internship, I'm going to show my intern badge.
Oh, you're a Forgemaster. Wonderful.
Proud of it too.
Your kind gets a bad reputation, but I understand something about that.
Well, not everyone likes progress. It does get bad rep from time to time, but we only keep in mind what's best for civilization in general.
Very well. I suppose you will want my offer then to bring me back my silver key and the man's head.
I would be able to bring the head back, only if there's a bounty on it already, unfortunately. Alternatively, I can bring him back alive for you to have your bit of fun.
Alive? I suppose I could use some parts. Alive sounds fine.
Very well then. Please give me the details of the mission and I will accomplish it within a day if I could.
Looking for a scoundrel of a man. A street rat. His name is Alvis. He is a con artist. A charlatan. And a huge thorn in my side. You're looking for him down in the slums area. If you want a place to start looking for the bastard, I suggest you go Well, you have a choice, really. There's the Red Stool Tavern. Or you could go straight to the Crime Syndicate. You'll find them closer to the edge of the wall. They'll be living in a large dome-like building that has the front of a shooting grounds for would-be archers. Your choice. The Syndicate, however, will require a favor in exchange.
I am assuming that he is not affiliated with the crime syndicate enough to have them protect him?
He's not affiliated with them. He's being hunted by them.
Is that so?
Elris has angered quite a number of people.
Do you happen to have a face with a name?
She kind of circles her hand a bit, and when she opens her palm in front of you, there's a small image of a man, looks like his mid-20s, has this slightest scar above his right eyebrow, brown hair, kind of ragged looking. My little street rat.
Noted. I will retrieve your key and I will bring him back alive.
And I will give you the eye and sell you the hand for only 30 gold pieces. Well, sell you the book. I don't believe you wanted the hand. My memory's not as good as it used to be.
It's alright. Very well. I will head my way. Thank you very much, Miss Raven.
Thank you. She disappears, and there's a bit of cold breeze that passes your neck as she leaves. The door opens again. Where are you heading off to?
I would like to visit the slums around that area, but not exactly go in it. I would like to observe it from afar first.
Okay. When you head down the slums, there's a bit of a gradient. You can see where things start to degrade and things start to become more packed up and jammed like a normal slums area. And you start to see where things start to become more of a shanty town than anything else. And you find a variety of shady people as well as desperate people, those who would probably do anything to get out of their current situation, but they just can't.
Understood. Do I happen to see a child around the age of maybe 8 to 15 roaming around?
Make a perception check.
That is a 15.
You find a number of them. Street children, no parents, just busking around or even just begging for food or gold maybe.
Do I happen to see anyone who seems vulnerable or basically someone who's not that alert at the moment? Someone who doesn't look like it's going to steal all of my gold the moment I show it.
There's a young girl, possibly 10 years old, 9 or 10 maybe. She's holding a broken down teddy bear. Doesn't look like she's even begging. She looks more like she's trying to avoid people's gaze, trying to stay out of people's way. Street children are not treated too kindly, from what you can tell.
Understood. I am going to look at her, and I will not approach her directly. I'm just going to move forward and try to squat to try to meet her gaze.
She looks at you, and the moment there's eye contact, she just looks away and hugs her kind of worn out teddy bear.
I will try to approach, but I'll stop the moment she looks like she's going to run away.
She doesn't so much look like she's gonna run away as she does look like she's covering up.
Hey!
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to look.
No, don't be. I was looking, and you don't have to be sorry about it, alright?
Very slowly, she turns her head to look at you.
Hi.
You're not gonna beat me?
No, not at all. Actually, I'm going to squat to meet her eye level. Can you do me a favor?
She's still gripping that teddy bear. Alright.
Do you happen to know anyone named Elvis around the area?
Elvis?
Brown hair, scar on the eyebrow, right, Eberron? I'm gesturing.
I don't know his name, but there was a jerk that came by the other day. Took my can of gold. I had a whole gold piece in there.
Do you happen to know where he went or where he stays?
Very sheepishly, she stands up, goes to the edge of the street, or edge of the alley, and points to a direction. Seems to be leading further down the street. And then when you look at where she's pointing, specifically, it looks like a gym of some sort. He went there, but that was a few days ago. I haven't seen him since.
Alright. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I didn't catch your name.
It's Kara.
Thank you very much, Kara. And for your trouble, I will pick out my pouch and I will take out a piece of gold and put it on her hand.
She just takes it. She tries to bite it. Thank you, miss.
Make sure no one else sees. I'll say that while I'm holding my finger in my on top of my mouth.
She nods and mimics your gesture. And she immediately runs across the street where you find what looks like a bakery.
I'm going to throw on a hood to try to hide my very distinct
Hair.
appearance. Hair, yes. And I would like to try to walk towards the direction that she pointed in as much as possible. If I could, try to blend in with the crowd.
Okay. Let's just make an arbitrary stealth check.
Do I have disadvantage?
Not necessarily. You're not so much. Actually, let's call it deception.
Deception. Alright, that is a 15.
Yeah, you're not trying to be invisible. You're just trying to blend. Yeah. No one pays you much mind. Person in a hood. This place is shady. Everyone wears hoods here. You're blending in pretty well, actually. Eventually, you get to where she was pointing, and you find what looks like the Revis Gym. As in, that's what's written in the sign. And the logo of the establishment seems to be this large green orc who's just flexing his bicep.
Understood. Do I happen to see what kind of people are going inside the gym?
A few people look like your typical gym goers, some buff guys. A few others look like they're carrying some weapons inside, and a few more look like the kind of people who need to go.
Yes, I am going to step inside.
Stepping inside, you see standard equipment, some weights, some training for boxing, some a caged ring for fighting in or sparring. But further down, you do find the area where people are training with their weapons, swords, staves, spears, and there's a section for bows and arrows. Further down, you do find the counter where there is the large green orc that was on the sign. Orcs are not very common in Kolvaro, but they're not banned. They're just very unusual and kind of fits. They're usually found in the slum areas.
Do I happen to see if he's there?
The man you are looking for, Alvis, is not here.
Oh, understood. I'm going to approach the orc. Pleasant morning.
Hi. Morning. What can I do for you?
I am actually looking for a certain someone. I kind of owe him a bit, and it's already overdue. I have to pay him. I heard that he went here a few days ago.
Alright. Lots of people go here. Who are you looking for?
Do you happen to recognize a man named Alvis?
He just looks at you.
You are looking for all this to pay him?
I owe him a favor. I know he doesn't have a good rep, but there's something that he did, and I really don't want to be in his debt of all people. You understand, right?
Make a deception check.
That is a 6.
He looks at you.
People don't owe Alvis. Alvis owes people. What are you really here for?
Well, when I said I owe him something, I never said it was something good.
Tell you what, the fucking bastard stole 20 gold from me. I give you location, you give me back my gold.
Alright then. 20 gold coming from his pocket.
Right, you went here a few days ago, took for 20 gold, didn't even pay his tab. Word is he was planning on leaving.
Where to?
Somewhere. Not entirely sure. But he's planning on taking the rails. That's what I heard, at least.
Alright. Do you happen to know if he's capable of fighting? He did visit a gym.
He's very good at stealing, lying, and talking, but he can't fight.
Understood. I'm going to give a quick glance to the cannibal strapped in my back and just say, I'll make sure to bring your gold back.
Give him a good beating while you're at it.
I'll make sure I do. Very well. I'll be seeing you with your 20 gold later.
Looking forward to it, Blondie.
You leave the Revis gym. Where do you want to head off to?
Did he gesture to the place where he's supposed to be in? He did say he was about to leave, so I'm assuming that that would be in the railways?
Yes, every major city that has a rail that connects to it in Kalvara and the entire continent of Fenris will have just a singular train station that is basically very massive, that will span several city blocks worth. And each of those stations will have different kind of trains going through them, whether it's the national rail that travels within the country or the Fenris International Rail, the arcane railway that travels across the major kingdoms or the major capital cities of the continent. So there's only one location, it's just very big. It's going to be hard to decipher which one he might be taking.
Oh, that is true.
It's also worth noting that if this guy is as bad of a criminal as he is, he'd find it very difficult to travel on the rails without the proper paperwork. Fake IDs.
Okay, yeah. Very well. I would like to visit the railways, but on the way there I would like to keep an eye out if I happen to see him wandering around.
Going through the city and eventually making your way to the railway, you don't notice anyone that matches the description. You are at the part of the railway that you're familiar with. This is the National Rail of Trustwald where you got off when you first arrived here. So you are familiar with this structure. The rest of it is a lot bigger than you remember.
Do I happen to see any street beggars in the area?
Not around the rails. The security here is very tight. There aren't even any buskers around.
Oh, understood. Well, how about the entrance to it? Do I see buskers there?
The entrance to it, there's a large flight of stairs before you get to the entrance. Down the stairs across the street, you will find a few buskers. There's one red tiefling who seems to be telling people's fortunes. There is a human who is juggling literal flaming balls of... You're not sure what they are, but they are flaming balls of fire. And another one who is probably doing one of those charlatan tricks you've seen before where they put a dice inside a cup and start shuffling it around, making people guess.
I'm guessing it's not the charlatan that I'm looking for?
No, it is not. He's a very curious guy, though. He has a small rimmed fedora, a long leather trench coat, and dresses very well for a busker. Kind of a suit and tie look. Very formal.
I will approach him, actually.
Morning to you. And
Pleasant
when
morning.
you see the face that looks up to you, she's a little shorter, but she is a she. That's a woman. You looking to play a few games?
Well, I would, but unfortunately I'm a bit busy.
Oh, that's too bad.
Tell you what. One round of game, and would you mind listening to an old girl about a certain favor that she would like to ask from you?
I don't see any old girls, just a lovely angel in front of me. But one game.
One game.
She shows you a marble, puts in the center cup. Keep your eye on the prize, darling. Starts shuffling it around. You get a perception check.
That is a 6.
You kind of lost track of the ball. Leftmost cup is 1, middle cup is 2, right cup is 3. Which one do you want to open?
Allow me to roll for it. I'm going to roll for it. That would be the first cup.
Sorry. You owe her a silver piece now.
Tough luck, I guess. I'll give her.
You seem to be born lucky with a face like that already. She pockets the silver.
Well, not exactly. I mean, I did lose a few parts of me. I'll show my arm.
Kinda hot if you ask me.
Well, I do agree.
So, what's the story you got to tell me?
Yes, well, you see, I am struggling a bit because apparently a certain someone has been causing trouble. Someone of your caliber, but
That's why whatever they said is a lie.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're not talking about me. Never mind, carry on.
I'm not talking about you. Although I would be appreciative if you managed to help me with this one. Because I believe you, of all people, would know how he functions or how he works, as he does have the same interests as you do. He's a charlatan, you see.
Excuse me? I am a respectable businesswoman.
I can see that.
But let's say I do know what you're talking about. What's the name you're looking for? And how much is it worth to you?
Alvis. And it depends.
Alvis.
How much would you charge to help me find this man?
Just 'cause I think you're kinda hot. Call it 2 gold pieces.
Tell you what, I'll pay you 4 gold pieces if you help me find him.
You got a deal. She gives you her hand.
I'll shake it. Name? Did you go by?
Call me Rita.
Rita.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm Eve, and I believe we're partners for the day.
She packs up her table, which is basically a large briefcase that kind of folds into a table. And then you see the briefcase has leather straps that she puts on her back to turn into a large backpack. Sorry everyone, gonna have to try luck again tomorrow. Alright, let's get going then, love. You're looking for Alvis? Last I heard, he's looking to skip town. If he's looking to skip town, that means we're looking for someone who makes fake IDs. There's no way he's skipping town, not with a name and face like that. So...
You happen to know any?
plenty. But there's only one who can get a man like Alvis out of town. Follow me.
Sound like a proper skill that a wonderful businesswoman would have.
It's a skill any woman should have.
Can't agree more.
She starts skipping. It's only about a 10-minute walk from the station. You find what looks like a mundane building. Nothing special to it. Broken or rusted steel, but not too bad that it would belong to the slums. Very plain. Maybe an office building. When you enter in, you find that it is a restaurant of sorts, or a place to eat on the bottom floor. She just skips past, waves to the bartender, and you're let in with her, and you're heading to the basement area. As you enter the basement, things start to get a little different. Things begin to look more illegal. There are machines here that seem to be processing what you can very clearly tell at the moment is fake gold, and Rita seems to be walking through without a problem. Until you get to a door in the back that's guarded by a rather large man. He's almost 7 feet tall, very hugely built.
Rita, you know you're not allowed back there.
Ah, come on, love. We're trying to find someone. You know, Alvy, no bastard. I'm sure the boss would love to know that he's been caught.
You know where he is?
Nah, I don't. But, guy in the back of that door probably does. What do you say? Do me a favor?
Fine.
Opens the door. Great. This one's gonna be joining me, love. She's my date for the day. Puts her arm around yours.
That I am.
Alright, head in, make it quick. Boss got business.
No problem. She just starts walking with her arm around yours.
Well, most people buy me dinner first.
I'm not most people, love. As you're being dragged in, or as you're walking next to Rita, you find that this place is very clearly a forger's area. They're making documents, paperwork, things that you've seen before, but they're definitely not official. I mean, the establishment is not official, but the things that they're making would definitely pass as official to most anyone. You eventually head over to the back where there's one guy who's sort of isolated from the rest. A middle-aged man with a monocle, a little out of shape, balding on the top of his head. Alright, Moz. Cough it up.
Rita, what are you doing here?
Well, Mars, my date here has some questions for you. Mars here's the best forger in town. He's the only one who's gonna get a person like Alvis out of here. Mars, be dear and start talking to her. Eve's a very special date of mine, and I don't like it when you mistreat my dates. Mars just looks at you, kind of adjusts his monocle, which has a small telescoping effect to it.
Yes, yeah. What can I help you with?
Yes, Moz, it is a pleasure to meet you. I will take out my kind of bow and I'll put it next to me, so that it just shows that I do have a huge ass weapon with me.
He just looks and that won't be necessary. I'm happy to answer whatever questions you have.
Of course, I was just putting it off my back. Well, you see, a certain someone decided to ask for my help because Alvis here has been particularly, problematic. And they're not happy about it.
Under his breath, he's a douche is what he is.
Oh, he certainly is.
I'm sorry, that was rather rude of me. Yes, Alvis, he looks hesitant to speak, despite clearly not having any love for the man.
Is anyone here watching? I will look around to see if there's anyone looking at him.
There's no one looking at him.
I'm very sorry.
He gestures for you to come a little closer, but his hand is only on his desk, making sure that no one sees it. Then as he looks around, he just says,
I'm sorry. I don't know any Alvis. I don't think he's ever come here before. I don't really recognize the name.
But he's gesturing to come closer.
Oh, that is unfortunate. I will lean with my elbow propped on my chin, basically to come closer but make it inconspicuous.
Look, he has a few hired thugs looking at my family. They're hired to stay there until he tells them that he's safe and out of the country. We can't put them at risk.
Would they happen to know? I mean, I can just keep my mouth shut if you don't tell anyone.
Someone led him here, led him inside. I don't know who in this shop is working with him.
That is unfortunate. Well, I do plan on having him caught.
But
Yes?
the name on the papers I gave him, Alexander Marset. That was the name he chose. That's the name on all his papers.
Understood.
It-
Thank you.
Can you do anything about my family?
I will have them call them back.
Please, if you can. If he can call them off, or I don't know. I'm sorry.
Once I do catch him, I will have him call the thugs back and save your family, alright?
Thank you.
We'll have to put on an act that you didn't help me, so forgive me.
Huh? For what?
You're so useless. I'm going to stand up and just say, there's nothing here, let's go.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I
looking
don't
at Rita.
know him.
Rita just gives up.
I'm so disappointed in you, Mars.
Very bad. Starts skipping.
Come on, there's nothing here.
You leave the area, with Rita still holding on to you despite already leaving the building and no longer having to keep appearances.
I will just enjoy her company. Well, his name is Alexander Marset.
As you're walking down the streets with Rita, she starts thinking to herself and, well, the shy Miles can't help us, but now that we got a name, I know a few guys. I don't mean to leech off of you, darling, but I know a few guys, but we're gonna have to grease some elbows, if you get what I'm saying.
And how much would it cost?
Maybe 5 to 10 gold pieces to get them to say a few things about people they've noticed.
Well, love, you're going to run me broke, but I do want that book.
Well, if you want me to make it worth your while, she winks. And she just kind of keeps walking with you.
I suppose good help does cost a bit. Well, let's see what they can do.
We're off it. We're heading to the rails. If he's already bought a ticket, his name will be in the registry under his new fake name. You head to the arcane rail, the national rail once more, and you find the rail master with Rita's help, who knows her way around the place, surprisingly. Eventually you get to the office of the rail master, where Rita has just kind of stopped short of entering and says, "Alright, he's got a few guards there, can't really see him very often, so we're gonna have to make an excuse to see him. You got a gold piece, love?"
I'll take one from my pocket and I'll give it to her. Make good use of it.
He's gonna be worth every ounce. She starts charming the two guards, kind of puts a gold piece in one hand, and the guard lets her in. She just kind of gestures with her head to follow her.
I will.
As you enter, the rail master, who is behind his desk, is currently working, says, "Hello there, Morrison."
Rita! Who the fuck let you in? Who?
No, no need to get hasty. Don't want your wife to be knowing those secrets of yours.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Morrison, you're so good at this. Oh, Morrison, you can't let your wife know. Alright. What do you want?
My lovely friend here has a few questions for you.
Yes.
At this moment, Eve, from her 22 years of being locked in a aasimar village, just doing nothing but prayer, she is quite culture shocked and is pleasantly surprised about all of this that's going on around her. She will approach the man, just still a bit culture shocked, but she'll try to suppress it. Well, you see, a certain problematic criminal has been wandering around your railways under the name of Alexander Morissette. Did anyone happen to buy a ticket under that name? We only wish to take care of him, if you know what I mean.
Tickets should have been bought in the last few days, love.
Right.
Did he happen to come in and use a ticket?
Right.
He opens a drawer, and there's a bunch of files in there. Just starts looking through. It seems that the files are well organized, so it's not that hard to find.
He bought one yesterday. International Rail. It seems... that can't be right. One moment.
He goes back to the drawer to find something else, and he's looking through.
That's... Right, so it's right. Right, he bought a ticket. International Rail, the main arcane railway. It's heading over to Agnes, over in the Pyrus country. It leaves in 5 hours.
That's weird. He's just muttering that under his breath.
Is something wrong?
Oh. No, it's just political things. I'm not sure how up to date the two of you are, but
Political tensions between Kolvara and Pyrus kind of makes the rail travel going to that country a bit difficult. If a criminal was going to go anywhere, I would imagine that he's not going to a place where he would be searched extensively, but regardless, that is what the ticket he bought was for.
I am guessing I can't do a roll yet because I do not know anything about this man.
No. You know nothing about him other than he's a charlatan.
Very well. In 5 hours. It'll take a while. Thank you very much, Morrison.
Morrison, you really should treat your wife with a little more respect, love. She's a lovely girl.
That you should.
He just rubs the bridge of his nose. Come on, love. Grabs onto your elbow.
As I leave, I'm just going to wave casually and say, or at least have the decency to end things with her if you really want to be a dick. Pleasant day, Mr. Morrison.
Well, love, so we go wait for a bit. How about buy you that dinner? Well, lunch, technically.
Aren't I supposed to be doing that because I am technically paying for your services?
You seem nice enough.
Take out?
Why not? Starts walking you to one of the restaurants around in the railway. They serve this, it's boar meat, like you've always had it. Except they cook it in a very different sauce that you've never tasted. It is excellent barbecue sauce. Gives it a lot more zest and a lot more of a kick.
Well, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good, right? And you know what the best part is, love?
Mm-hmm.
It's free.
Really?
She has a big smile on her face.
Do I want to know?
Maybe. Girls gotta have some secret, so...
Well, I'll take your word for it. This is a very good meal.
You wait for several hours. You have to wait, but you do find the arcane rail that's eventually going to Agnes, and you also find that there's a very distinct lack of passengers on this rail. Very, very few people want to ride it, and the most that you see riding it are either soldiers or some form of politicians, maybe diplomats, but no one really wants to go to Agnes. Now, the important thing to remember about the international rail is that it doesn't actually go from city to city. The international rail connects the major capitals of the 4 countries that make up Fenris. So this rail would essentially be going to Karn, the capital of Kovara, and then it will transfer the passengers to the international rail that will head over to Agnes. So this is actually a rail that's going to head back home.
Okay.
While you're waiting here, you eventually do spot the man that you're looking for. It's hard to tell, but with the passive perception of Rita, who is on your employ, you do find him.
Hey, love. I think I found a third wheel.
I see. Mind helping me to subdue him? Make sure he doesn't run. While I try to convince him.
I'll watch the gate, and you go do your thing.
Thank you, love.
She pulls out what looks like a large metal stick that's about 2 feet long. And she just starts walking towards where the passengers are entering.
How many people are around us at the moment?
Not a lot. This part of the rail, given where it's going and where it's designated for, what it's designated for, doesn't seem to be too many people around. But there are still a number of them.
Very well. I would like to walk near him, and if I could, I would like to knock him unconscious.
Make a stealth check first so he doesn't notice you. You do have disadvantage for this, for your armor.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hmm. God, I just wasted a natural 20. Stealth. 12.
Luckily, poor Alvis is not the most perceptive of charlatans. He does not notice your approach, as you carry the largest baseball bat in history.
Yes.
You want to hit him with it? Make an athletics roll.
Out of curiosity, do you happen to have advantage because I'm sneaking up on him?
Not exactly, because you're trying to hit with enough force to knock him out. So, just because he doesn't see you coming, doesn't mean that... You get the option of doing it, because he doesn't see you coming.
Understandable. I rolled a 4.
Well, because he doesn't see you coming, you do still manage to hit him, you just don't knock him out. So roll the damage for the cannibal.
Okay. That is... Oh dear. Well, I sure hope I don't kill him with it. Oof. That is an 8 points of damage. Bludgeoning.
You take the cannibal, you swing it across. If you recall, the cannibal has metal studs attached to a large wooden bat.
It does, yes.
Everyone's just looking at you.
Well,
A few guards are looking at you.
so be it. May I try to wrestle him down?
He's not moving.
Pin him on the ground. Oh, okay. I'll try. Wait, what did he do when I hit him? He just looked at me?
No. He's not looking at you. Everyone else is looking at you.
Yeah, but what is he doing after I hit him?
Collapsed on the ground, bleeding out from his skull. He's dying.
Oh, he's dying. This is why I hope I don't kill him. I am going to grab his wrist and I will cast Cure Wounds on his head.
Okay. Roll a d8 plus your intelligence modifier.
I sure hope I didn't kill him. And I accidentally actually almost did. That is intelligence modifier. That's a 6.
Okay. You heal his skull. The blood is all over the ground. As he wakes up, he's disoriented.
Oh, what? The
I'll carry him on my shoulder.
Hey, what's going on? Hey,
And a few guards have arrived to say,
excuse me, miss. What?
would you please, miss, would you explain what's going on here? You just hit an innocent man in public.
Innocent is debatable. He's using a fake name. I was asked to retrieve him. I'm on a mission.
They look at each other. Under whose authority?
If I drop the Forgemaster's name, would it be a valid way to...
You're not liked, but they are recognized with some authority.
I will show my badge then. My
And you were also given paperwork.
still student... Yes, student badge. I will show it. And I will say, it's something. And I was asked to retrieve it. Unfortunately, our friend here can be a bit slippery. And I do apologize. It was very barbaric of me.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
With advantage? Persuasion. That's a 14.
Fucking Forgemasters. Alright, carry on, don't make another mess.
I'll try not to. I will give him like a slight salute and I will just walk towards Rita.
Rita approaches you, meets you halfway, and just says,
Well, that was interesting, love.
I thought you caved to Skolin.
Well, I was trying not to, but it did, and this is why
Wait,
my professor
wait,
did say you should
what?
talk with words, not with weapons. But
Wait, come on, we can talk this out. Ow. What do you want, gold? I got some
I'll hit
gold.
you again. Yes, you do. I do need your gold. You need to pay that gym master what you owe him.
What, Revis? But, I think I was gonna pay him back.
When? I'm saying this while I'm walking.
I
Rita pulls out some tape and just wraps around his mouth.
Thank you very much for that. I needed the peace and quiet.
No more talking, love. You're already interrupting my date. Bloody third wheel.
Quite literally, too.
Oh. I suppose since you've already found him, you don't need me anymore.
Well, this has been a very pleasant day, and I hope you don't mind receiving letters every now and then. I did appreciate your company, and I would not like our relationship to end so soon.
Always here when you need me, love.
Well, I do owe you. I will take out 4 pieces. Actually, I'll give out 5 gold pieces. A tip. You've been very helpful and wonderful to her today.
Keep it, love. Spending time with you is more than enough.
Very well. I'll take your word for it.
She gives you a wink as she kind of, instead of skipping, saunters off almost seductively.
What a woman. I'll just look at her a bit longingly, then I will head back to the gym first because I believe it's on the way.
Okay.
Can I rummage through his pocket?
Not while carrying him.
Fair. Can I tie him his
Yeah,
wrist?
that's fine.
I will do
Make an
that.
investigation check.
That is a 15.
Okay. About 300 gold pieces, a ticket, and all of his fake ID.
I will take the gold and everything else.
Okay.
I will leave him with nothing.
Carrying a fugitive on your shoulder, you are interrupted by a few guards who look for your identification, so you have to go through that spiel repeatedly. But
I will show them the fake IDs. Make it easier.
you do manage to go through the city and eventually end up back in the gym. Revis looks at you and says,
Well, what do you know? You actually got him, and it looks like you got him good. Pay up, motherfucker.
as he's looking at the tape man.
Don't worry about that. I'll cover it. I will take out 20 gold pieces and put it on the table.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Pleasure is all mine.
You're okay by my book, if you ever need to come back. You, however,
pointing his large green finger at Alvis.
If I ever see you here again, I'm gonna break your spine and make it a decoration.
Flicks him on the forehead.
Well, he sure made a lot of allies.
Go on.
Thank you, Revis. I will go back to the Raven shop. I am contemplating on putting him in a bag of holding, but I might accidentally kill him, so I will just walk back.
As you leave the Revis gym and you make your way back to the apothecary, the Black Raven apothecary. Yes.
Does he have the silver key with him?
He does, actually. That was within his money pouch. As you make your way back to the Black Raven apothecary, you find Etria pointing her very large and scoped crossbow towards your direction, but not at you, just the direction you're coming from. As her large, trademark blackened arrow fires from it, your eyes can't help but follow the arrow, and it hits someone through the knee. As the guy just falls to the ground.
Oh dear.
Etria just starts moving. Says, leave him, or you're next. As people start approaching, trying, presumably to help the guy, and they start backing off. She waves at you, and then just keeps walking.
I'll wave back, and I'm just going to mutter under my breath, well, I suppose the Forgemasters are not hated for no reason. I'll say that while walking towards the Raven shop.
You head back to the Black Raven apothecary. And then, oddly enough, you see Martis on the roof, having a sword fight with someone. You can hear their swords clashing, the metal kind of pinging against each other. And when you look up, you see Martis basically dueling another guy. Almost losing. Until he kicks the guy off the roof. And the guy just... Ah! Martis just looks.
Ooh.
It's on the second floor of a shop and just... Everything is fine! Everything is fine! That is a fugitive, please do not put your hands on him. As he starts walking down.
I can see a pattern now. No violence is always the way. I'll say that while walking.
The guy just looks at you.
Oh, just be glad that I didn't kill you. At least I healed you, didn't I?
And he sees the apothecary. As he violently shakes his head.
Oh dear, I will shoot your knee if you keep struggling.
Make an intimidation check. Use your strength modifier.
Strength modifier. Okay. That is a 15. Time to face your crimes. Say that while walking towards the door.
Ah, child, it brings my heart such warmth.
You owe me quite a lot.
You drop the body in front of her.
Well, a deal is a deal. 30 gold pieces for the book, and you get the eye for free, since I'm assuming you have my key.
That I do. I will take out the key and give it to her.
Thank you, my darling.
She gives you the eye in the preserved jar, and the book. You can take out 30 gold.
Oh, madam, may I ask for a favor?
Her bony sounds as she moves her head towards you.
It is part of our protocol to have our employer stamp our paperwork to assure that we accomplished it.
Of course, of course.
She takes your papers, signs it. For a very old crone, signs very beautifully. Turns the paper around and writes something, eventually letting go of the pen as it writes itself.
You may take it when the pen is done writing. Come, Alvis. So much to speak of.
As she drags, as there's a pleading look towards you.
I'll shrug. Then I'll shake my head.
The pen eventually stops writing.
Well, that was a pleasant day. I will take my papers. I will walk out while I'm reading through what she wrote.
Reading through what she wrote, there are a number of things that she had mentioned. More specifically, she praises the expediency at which you have accomplished the task. And that is a good place to end for the night. good evening to everyone listening, and we hope you listen again on the next episode, which should come out sometime next week. I hope everyone had a happy holidays. Bye.